Hello viewers, Super GT here. So Grid 2019 has arrived. We're going to take a look at the multiplayer and see what the experience is like. Is it good? Is it bad? What are the upsides? What are the downsides? Let's jump in and take a look. So first off, you get put into this really dark, murky wasteland. Very mysterious, ramming world. And it's almost as if I've wandered onto the set of The Walking Dead or something. It seems like at any moment Rick Grimes is going to come out of the dust and hack me to bits. But instead, I get rammed. This is good ramming practice and ramming avoidance practice for, presumably, the races that are about to come up. So it's just good to get yourself acquainted with the idea of getting punted about, because you're probably going to need that practice for when the races come. So let's take a look at the races. Now, the first issue for me in these races is the fact that it's backfilled with AI. It's not something I'm particularly keen on, I must say. Please do let me know your thoughts on all of these things. But the fact that there's loads of AI, I don't know, it just feels a bit weird. Especially here, because I'm 16th on the grid. We've got an actual player on pole position, and I've got to fight my way through loads of AI. I'm not sure how many players there are here. But it's a 16-player lobby. So if there's, let's say, 8 of you actual players, then the other 8 will just be AI. So it just basically backfills the lobby. But let's try and fight through then, shall we? So start at 16th. Where can we get to from there? So, okay, it's pretty tough trying to fight your way through so many people, but it can be quite fun, it must be said. And this is the thing about this game, just trying to work out how seriously should I be taking it. Because sometimes with these kind of games you just got to say, let's just have a blast, it doesn't matter too much, let's not take it too seriously. But having said that, there's still issues definitely with this game, the way that the multiplayer is. I mean, I haven't shown it yet, but I mean, for those of you who've played it, there's only sort of a quick find or a quick match feature, so you just press that, you jump into a match. You can't choose which type of lobby or which type of race you want to do. You only want to do these types of cars or around this track. You can't choose that. You just jump into a quick match and then you just race whatever you're given. So if you don't mind racing all of the cars, all of the different cars, that's fine, that's no problem. But if you want to focus on a specific championship, a specific car, then you can't really do that unless you set up your own private match. But then again, to do that you need lots of friends, and not many of us have lots of friends, or friends who are always going to be online and available to play all the time. So yes, there's definitely a lack of options, and that is quite abundantly clear as soon as you jump into the online. So San Francisco here, classic circuit from the first game. Back in 2008, I found myself up in 3rd. Eventually, we caught up to the OG Mr. Fernando Alonso, level 99 pro sniper, 10th prestige boy over here. So we'd done him up into 2nd, but the guy who started pole was a long way ahead, couldn't catch him, and we finished in 2nd, so actually not too bad. From 16th, fought our way through lots of AI. Watch this guy here. That countdown was to his engine just blowing up or something, because his bonnet just came flying off at the start of the race. And you see a little bit of lag there, but for the most part the connection was okay. There were some issues, or there are some issues with especially just sync issues. So I was not starting the race at the same time as other people, getting a 2-second head start was really strange. And there's my good R4M ramming practice, trying to get that guy out of the way. Didn't quite work. Now some of these races actually settled down and actually were really quite fun. So at the front here there were 4 actual players. It was good to just play with actual players rather than the AI. It's quite frustrating to get AI mixed into the battle. But here, I think that guy went up the inside, he actually spun out. Went up the inside of this guy on the last lap and just quite unceremoniously shoveled him wide into the gravel realm and said goodbye to him, and we finished 2nd again. And it's a 3-race championship, so you do 3 races, you get your points based on your finishing score. And that guy's bonnet coming off again at the start of the race. I'm not sure what that's all about. Pretty hilarious, but pretty sure it's not meant to be happening. So here, just went for the full ram mode and got all the way up into 6th place. No penalty, of course. And this is going to be a feature, I think, maybe of the game. The fact that you can just go really quite aggressively into corners, especially against AI. Let's not forget that AI lives do not matter. So if you smash off AI, then there's no real victim. But I'm not sure if there are probably some humans involved in that big smash. Threading the needle there between these two guys as we move up into 3rd, trying to catch up with Mr. LB Classics 3000, who has done the double in the first 2 races, looking for the treble in this one. Over the course of the first lap and the beginning of the second, I did actually begin to catch him up. So fighting through from the back is pretty tough, but it's actually pretty good fun, I must say. And now we actually have a real opponent to really try to overtake. He was pretty good though. When I caught up to him, I couldn't really do the deed and get the overtake done. He actually was racing fairly well, and it was actually quite difficult to get it done. This is the final corner of the final lap, so it's pretty much always a 3-lap race. I think it's always a 3-lap race. And he's going fairly wide. I'm going too narrow, if anything. And it's not quite going to be enough, so he's going to secure a treble of wins. I'm going to secure a treble of seconds, which totals 6th place, or 3 times 2 equals 6. There's your maths lesson of the day. So 6th place confirmed, Super TC video confirmed, and you get this little screen here where it shows the results. So 2nd place, well done to LB Classics. Okay, so moving on to the next race. And this was a little bit of a problem. Admittedly, this was on release day of the Ultimate Edition, so maybe there weren't so many players. But I'm just worried about how long this multiplayer experience will last. How long will the population be high on this game? So you see there are only 4 people in that lobby. It's not very high, and especially when you think there's just going to be 12 AI in that race. It's not great. So you find another match, try again, have a look, and get thrown into the murky wasteland of The Walking Dead once again. On this one, I was the only player, so not great when you're jumping into these games and there's not that many people. Let's hope that on the actual proper release day onwards there will be good populations in these lobbies, but we shall see. And then I don't know how long that's going to last, maybe a month or 2, who knows, we shall see. So I jumped in this F1 race. Again, loads of AI. These F1 cars are pretty fun to drive, but nearly going for the barrel roll there. And for the sake of consistency, we did it again on lap 3, and pretty much an exact repeat of what we did just before. So this race was a bit silly because there was only one other person in the race with me. So yes, it's a win. You can hoover up some easy victories and easy XP. By this one, I think that guy had left, judging by the leaderboard there. Well, he's at the bottom of the leaderboard. And then by the final race of the 3, I was the only person in there. So it became quite a lonely experience for multiplayer because it was pretty much single player. This was an example of the desync issues where I was just, I don't know, starting 2 seconds earlier than everyone else. So that gets you quite up the order very quickly. But I would note that your race time does start. So let's say if you start 2 seconds before everyone else, but you only finish 1 second ahead of someone else, they will beat you because your total time would have been longer. So do watch out for that. So if you do start early, just go and just try to win the race that way. Now this race was going really well. I was winning, and then I just came in for the complete bottle job. And it's actually fairly easy to lose control of some of these cars, especially on the controller. It can get a little bit fiddly and twitchy at times. I managed to get 2nd place back, and there was an outside chance of still getting the victory here, as this guy wasn't too far ahead with just a few corners left to go. It's quite unusual running this circuit this way round. Not really used to it going round this way, but I suppose you do it on Forza this way round. So coming out of the final corner onto the main straight, This guy was called Don't You Hate That, quite suitably. Across the line. In second, it seemed to be our favourite position, although we got a 2-second penalty on this occasion for misdemeanours and cutting corners. So there we go, don't you hate that? Yes, I do hate that when I'm leading and I completely bottle the race victory and then end up third. So yeah, not great. Move on to another race in these F1000 cars. These are pretty good fun cars actually. And some of these races were actually a blast. They were good fun. I would still say that having the AI in the way is just a bit silly. I'd rather just race with 5 people than have loads of AI just to make it seem more populated. I'd rather always just race against actual humans, even if they're awful humans, you know? A lot of humans on multiplayer racing games aren't always great, myself included, you know? We're all rammers deep down. But I'd rather race against them than the AI. I need to stop talking about the AI because you probably get it by now. You probably get it. So this guy just felt like not braking at this corner, and we get somersaulted up into the air. Don't you love that? So don't you hate that, buddy here? Don't you love that? I don't particularly love getting shoveled up into the air, but there you go. Let's try and continue with this race and gain a couple of positions. It was actually quite close. When the race is settled down, you can see here, it's actually pretty close. On lap 3, there's quite a lot of us here. There is one AI. Stop talking about the AI. There's one more AI there. But you see this top 4 battle was actually pretty close, and this was the final lap. So some of the race was actually really good fun, all the way through to the end of the race. And this one is going to be a 4th. This race, okay, this one really didn't go well at all. So going around the outside at turn 1, and I was just on the limit of control, and I just went onto the grass and just completely lost it, and went straight back to the rear of the pack, caught back up with everyone quite quickly, and going through this little section here, watch this cheeky little move from Callum Kirkwood as he just moves left at the crucial moment and sends me into the realm. To be fair, I think I was probably going to crash into them anyway, but the principle still stands, that he felt like he had to send the shadow to the shadow realm. Okay, so we find ourselves down in 10th, and then we finished 10th for that one. A blast, but lots of contact. Now, we come to, is it Shanghai? I believe it's Shanghai. This is the true tunnel of terror. As this was the very first time I think all of us are going through here, and I don't think any of us knew how this tunnel was laid out, as that guy smashes into the wall. I kind of smashed into the wall, luckily continued going in the correct direction. Guy ahead smashed into the wall, we pummeled past him. So you're going to see a lot of that, a lot of contact. A little bit later on. Doing a nice little 720 for the cameras. And then we move on to this race here at Havana Unana. And this was actually pretty good. This race was actually rather enjoyable. So I feel as though my experience was really sort of decided a lot of, in many ways, by the people in the lobby with me. So once I got to the front with this guy, Don't You Hate That, he was actually really good. He was fast, and it was actually a really good challenge trying to keep up with him and trying to beat him. So I think the online experience has really so far been categorised by the luck of getting into a lobby with the right people, and then hopefully just having the right race come up, because of course you can't choose which race you want to do. You just got to kind of hope that the car comes up that you like to race. And this Ferrari is pretty good. It's pretty hard to control actually, but I prefer it over, let's say, the F1000 car we were just driving. So this was actually good fun. I like the GT cars. I like this Ferrari here. To be fair, a lot of the cars are actually very fun to drive in this game. Just some of them are probably not best suited to the multiplayer. So, for example, the F1 car, I think it's just too fast for people to control properly and to race closely. It's just almost impossible. So actually I would say that often the slower the car, the better, because you can race a lot closer. So I have noticed that when I've got into slower cars, the racing has been a bit better. So at this point here in the lead, but not too far ahead, and this kind of shows you how easy it is just to lose control. So we just grazed the inside barrier, and then again on the outside, just get our outside wheels onto the curb. Just sends us spinning a little bit, and just managed to keep control. But don't you hate that? Capitalises completely and goes back into the lead. So last lap now, can we retake that lead and finally get a race victory against this guy? So he's going to get a little bit too acquainted with the inside barrier, and we're going to go around the outside and retake the lead. So half a lap to go. Can we keep it from here to the end? Now my approach to these races was actually, in many ways, you just have to drive at 90%. If you start driving at 100%, you really easily lose control. So I just started to be really careful with my throttle and brakes, and just started really braking quite early and just being nice and patient. And that seemed to get me more wins than before. This random guy just appeared right in front of me there. That was really strange. But we do get a win. So finally, registering that victory. And it was a good race. I actually enjoyed that race. It was good fun. So good times indeed. Now this example here, San Francisco. So you've got Key 25 in front of us, and you can see he's going to get battered around nice and early in this race. So he's not going to feature actually too much here. But the frustrating thing here again is starting at the back when your main opponent in the championship is starting at the front. It's kind of weird how that works. I don't know how the grid ordering works. But we actually had a really good start here. Starting down towards the back, but immediately jumping up the inside here, up into 4th place. So you really quickly get used to the ways that the other drivers drive, and you can just sort of drive around the outside of them quite easily quite a lot of the time. So these cars are a lot slower, and I feel as though the racing is actually better in these slower cars because it's just not so hectic. You can actually react to other people's movements, and these were some of the better races I had. So now we're behind the dynamic duo of Don't You Hate That and Don't You Love That, as we head through around about halfway through this lap. It's quite a long lap here at San Francisco Grand Prix circuit. As we then come up the hill, I've been hemmed in here by the duo, so there's no way through. It's almost like some sort of anti-thief police measure here, as they try to square me off and capture me. But I'm just going to kind of push them up the hill, go to the left-hand side, and here's an example of being more careful. So here I could have accelerated and gone to the left-hand side, but just as that track narrows up there on the exit, probably would have caused an accident if I'd just gone for that gap. So just backing off, playing it safe, coming down the hill here, probably just braking before you go over that crest. As you can see, the guy ahead goes quite wide, and that gives me a slightly better exit as I got a little bit close to the apex. I still wasn't completely close to it, but enough to go up into the lead of the race, down the hill then. And again, you've got to watch out for these bumps, and I didn't quite do that here, so I headed over that last bump a little bit too quickly. By the time you land, you've got no time to brake and steady yourself for the corner. Here, a little bit too wide again. So I'm going to lose the momentum as I grind off the wall. Don't you hate that? Yes, I do. Losing the lead, although we've still got 2 laps left to go. It's a fairly long lap as well, as we've said. This first lap's going to be well over 2 minutes long. As we head through this final sequence of corners, it's really good to be out in the lead at the front of the pack. It is just quite tricky at the first lap when everyone's so close. And the thing I've noticed about the single player, I'm going to talk about the AI again. In the single player, when all the AI are so close together, they're not that good. They're very slow, and they just drive a bit erratically and brake really early. But when they're spaced out, they're quite good, and I think that's kind of true in the multiplayer race as well. The races are pretty good, once it's settled down after the initial chaos of lap 1. It's actually not too bad. So here, quite a close race between the two of us, both just trying to keep it nice and calm, nice and tidy, nice and smooth, and that's the thing I noticed really. So if I have a tip for anyone who wants to succeed on this, I'd say obviously just understand your car and the way that it drives, but the main thing is just to drive it nice and carefully. Don't really push too much, because I found that a lot of people were making mistakes, and especially on the first day of the game, lots of people were getting used to the game. There are going to be mistakes, and I make a mistake there, just getting on the throttle a little bit too early and almost spinning out. But I did catch back up with him, so end of lap 2 now. Can we overhaul him and go for that race victory? He grinds off the wall this time around. I just tried to go past him and just graze off the back of him, and a bit of contact, a bit of an unclean overtake. But I think that's kind of par for the course of this game. A lot of the time it's actually quite tricky to control the cars, I feel, in close quarters, because the handling is actually quite strange. It feels as though the car turns from the centre. I don't know how to describe it, but it's not like you turn the steering wheel and then the front wheels turn. It's like the whole car pivots from the centre, if that makes sense. I don't know if it does. So don't you hate that, going for the lunge, a little bit too deep. We cut him back. So we've sort of asserted a bit of control in this race. He did try to disrupt that there with that overtake. It didn't quite pay off for him. So just really try and have a fast sector here. It's not really an overtaking sector, it's really kind of a one-line kind of area, unless I make a big mistake, of course. But through here I did actually get a bit of a lead as we make full use of the curbs on the inside and the outside of the corners. And you see there the gap just opened up slightly. And by the end, I think I broke his resolve and managed to come through to collect a victory. I didn't bottle it through the final corners. But once this game gets going, once it gets flowing, the races can be good fun. It's just pot luck of who you get in your lobby, whether or not you get a full lobby and which race comes up. And it is a bit frustrating that you can't choose. This race was pretty good. So at Okutama once again, with the dynamic duo down the hill, looking up the inside, and I kind of just sat it on the apex. Wouldn't let him pass. The guy in the lead onto the gravel is going to be a close finish, and as we come across the line, I'm just going to stay second. It was about less than half a tenth, I think it was, between the two of us at the end. But we're going to end it on this one, starting 15th, and this was probably one of my better races that I did in the whole day. So I'm going to show you this one in its pretty much entirety. As we head through turn 1, and well, to begin with, it really didn't go very well at all. You see, I end up facing the wrong way, very frustrating indeed. So started 15th, got up quite a few positions, and then immediately back down to 14th. But 3 laps to go, and it's quite a long lap this one, so we have plenty of time to try to catch back up with the leaders. Let's see if we can do that. So I think first lap, especially when you don't know the track so well, it's just a case of looking at the map, looking at the guys ahead, and just trying to learn the circuit, so that by the time you come through for the second and third time, you actually know what you're doing, ideally. As we still haven't overtaken anyone quite yet. Got nice momentum here, so we're going to go to the left hand side of Rafael Garcia into the final corner. So it's a long right-hander here, so you kind of got to get really close to this right-hand side. You don't want to drift too far away. Don't you hate that? Our big rival actually down here, further down the order with us. Fernando Alonso got no pace, and you got no fans. As we go past the inside of him, up the inside of Don't You Hate That, late on the move, and we get pushed in from behind. And actually, that kind of helped us, because of course, well, getting pushed off the wall doesn't always kind of hinder you. Can help. So we've got a massive pack here. Got to try and fight our way through it. So you kind of got to take some differing lines. Get on the power nice and early. Really is a very big group here. If I can get to the front of this, I'm in probably about third. So the AI again, being Egypts, overtake loads of them. Up to 5th. Robert Sanchez now, directly in front. He's going to be my next victim. Can we get past him? Not quite. Yes, we can. There we go. The space opens up. Send up the inside. Ram our way past the AI. AI have no rights, basically. They don't really exist. That could come back to bite me in the future. When AI eventually becomes extremely intelligent, I'll be the first one to be killed when the Terminator program becomes real and Skynet takes over the world. But for now, I'll take my chances. Okay, so up into 4th. Second place is very much in vision. First place is AI. For those of you who want to do a drinking game, rewind back to the start and just every time I say AI, take a shot. RIP everyone's livers. So up behind Kerr now. We've actually raced Kerr on Gran Turismo many times, so it's good to see some familiar names. Just trying to find a way past him here. Couldn't quite manage it on this occasion. So this fast sweeping chicane here, everyone glancing off the wall, and he just goes a little bit wide on the exit. And that gives us the momentum to go past. Can we overtake Don't You Love That on this final lap to cap off a rather nice comeback? So just the final corner left to go. It's this fast sweeping left into the long right. And he's gone in way too deep here. He's gone right out to the outside. I'm just going to keep it a little bit more narrow and take that second place. So it's not a win, but actually I think that was probably my best performance of the day as we come across the line to finish in second. So that is it, my initial impressions of the multiplayer experience on Grid. Let me know your thoughts, but my basic thoughts are the fact that it can be very fun. It's actually quite a fun experience if you're in the lobby with the right people. So I did actually have quite a lot of fun in some of these races. The main downsides really are the fact that you can't choose which races you want to do. The quick match feature only isn't great for me. The fact that a lot of the lobbies weren't well populated, but that can change. And yes, the fact that AI fill the lobby, I didn't really like that. But please do let me know your thoughts. Do you like the online? Do you not like it? I do think that it's too bare bones. There's not enough there at this point. It can be fun, but there's just not enough there. I think that is my summary. So I'm not sure how long this multiplayer experience is going to last. But there we go. I do hope you've enjoyed the video. Please do let me know your thoughts, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.